Rebecca had always believed in love. Growing up in a small town, she dreamed of finding someone special who would make her heart race. Her friends teased her about her romantic ideals, but Rebecca didn't mind. She worked as a librarian, surrounded by stories of love and adventure. Every day, she immersed herself in books, hoping to find inspiration for her own life. One rainy afternoon, Rebecca was sorting through a pile of new arrivals when she heard the doorbell chime. A tall man entered, shaking off the rain from his dark hair. He looked around, his eyes bright with curiosity. "Hi, I'm David," he said, flashing a warm smile. "Rebecca," she replied, returning his smile. "Welcome to our little library." David wandered through the aisles, touching the spines of books as if they were old friends. Rebecca watched him, intrigued. He had an easy charm about him, and something in his demeanor caught her attention. David came back to the front desk with a book in hand. "I've been looking for this. It's one of my favorites." "What is it about?" Rebecca asked, genuinely curious. "It's a story of adventure and finding one's purpose. It really speaks to me," he said, his eyes lighting up. Rebecca loved seeing his enthusiasm. They talked about their favorite books for nearly an hour. When he left, Rebecca felt a spark she hadn't felt in a long time. David became a regular at the library, and each visit deepened their connection. They shared stories and laughter, and slowly, Rebecca realized that she was falling for him. After weeks of friendly banter, David finally asked Rebecca out on a date. "How about dinner this Saturday?" he suggested, his voice a mix of excitement and nervousness. "I'd love that," she replied, her heart racing. On the night of the date, Rebecca wore a simple blue dress that made her feel beautiful. When David arrived, he looked handsome in a fitted shirt and jeans. They went to a cozy restaurant downtown, and over plates of pasta, they talked for hours. David listened intently as Rebecca shared her dreams of travel and writing. "You have such passion," he said, looking into her eyes. "I admire that." By the end of the night, Rebecca felt a warmth spreading through her heart. David walked her to her door, and as they stood on her porch, he leaned in and kissed her softly. It was a gentle kiss, but it sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. As weeks turned into months, Rebecca and David grew closer. They went on hikes, explored the local art scene, and spent quiet evenings reading together. David was kind, funny, and supportive. He encouraged her to pursue her writing, even helping her draft a story she had been working on. One evening, as they sat on her couch, David took her hand. "I've never met anyone like you, Rebecca. You inspire me." His words filled her with happiness. She knew that he was not only charming but also thoughtful and genuine. The more time they spent together, the more she realized David was everything she had dreamed of in a partner. Despite the growing love, Rebecca felt a shadow of doubt creep in. David was everything she wanted, but was he truly husband material? She worried about the future. What if he didn't want the same things she did? What if he was just enjoying the moment? One evening, as they walked through a park, Rebecca hesitated. "David, do you believe in forever?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. He looked at her, surprised. "Of course I do. I want to build a future with someone special." "Why do you ask?" I want to know if we're on the same page," she admitted. "I've been hurt before, and I don't want to get my hopes up." David stopped walking and turned to her, his expression serious. "I care about you deeply, Rebecca. I'm not here to play games. I see a future with you." Her heart swelled with hope, but the fear remained. As time passed, Rebecca noticed subtle changes in David. He began to work longer hours, often too tired to go out or even chat. When she brought it up, he shrugged it off, insisting it was just a busy period. But Rebecca felt a growing distance between them. She missed the easy laughter and long conversations. One night, she confronted him. "David, is something wrong? You seem so distant lately." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'm just trying to make ends meet. I want to provide for us in the future." His words hit Rebecca hard. "But I don't need you to provide for me. I want you to be present in my life." David's eyes softened, and he took her hands in his. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to pull away. I just thought I was doing the right thing." That night, they talked for hours, trying to bridge the gap that had formed between them. Rebecca realized that David was still the man she loved, but they needed to communicate better. A few weeks later, David surprised Rebecca with a weekend getaway. They went to a small cabin by a lake, surrounded by trees and mountains. As they settled in, Rebecca felt the weight of their recent struggles lift. Sitting by the lake, they shared their hopes and fears under the stars. "I want to be the best partner for you, Rebecca," David said, his voice earnest. "I've been thinking a lot about our future. I want to make it work. Tears filled Rebecca's eyes. I want that too, but I need to know we can talk about anything. Absolutely, I promise to be more open, he replied, pulling her close. That night, they made a pact to communicate more openly, to face challenges together, and to never take each other for granted. Months passed, and their relationship continued to grow stronger. David became more attentive, balancing work and their time together. One beautiful autumn day, they hiked to a scenic viewpoint. As they stood admiring the view, David took a deep breath, his expression serious. Rebecca, you've changed my life in ways I never imagined. I can't picture my future without you, he said, reaching into his pocket. Rebecca's heart raced as he knelt down, pulling out a small velvet box. Will you marry me? Her breath caught in her throat. Yes, yes, of course, she exclaimed, tears of joy streaming down her face. David slipped the ring onto her finger, and they embraced tightly, overwhelmed by happiness. In that moment, Rebecca knew that David was not just boyfriend material, he was husband material. As they planned their wedding, Rebecca felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They were not perfect, but they had learned to communicate and support each other. On their wedding day, surrounded by friends and family, they exchanged vows. I promise to love you, support you, and grow with you, David said, his voice steady and filled with emotion. And I promise to always be your partner, through every challenge and joy, Rebecca replied, her heart full. As they sealed their vows with a kiss, Rebecca looked into David's eyes and saw a future filled with love, adventure, and a deep partnership. She knew that David was indeed husband material, and together, they would write their own beautiful story.